veterans!
Golden Raider!
Welcome to a very, very amateur Game of the Year Awards by me, the Garo. This is this tale of why Magicka 2 Learn to Spell Again is now it's the game I've had the most fun with in couch co-op. And here is why, I suppose. This is my mini review of this spectacular little surprise that's called Magicka 2. I really liked this game a lot. I think they did a fantastic job with this, and this is coming from someone who's not played the previous Magicka game, or I believe there was an expansion called Wizard Wars or something like that. I haven't played either of those, so I don't know how good it is compared to those, or bad, or, comparing it as a veteran, so to speak, as not a veteran, should I say. I find this game a very interesting one because of just how much depth there is in the gameplay. Sure, there's a lot more things to the game going on for it rather than just the gameplay, like fantastic, charming story tale and the delivery of the story and how they present everything for you. It's just wonderful. You have to experience it, guys, and don't just take my word for it. Just go knock yourself out. Just give it a go and see for yourselves. But yeah, the strength in this game lies in playing it with a buddy, and I've played it both single player and with a buddy, and playing it with a buddy definitely is the way to go. You could tell that this game was designed from the beginning to be something to be played with a friend or two, and you can play up to 4 players on a couch co-op or even online, I believe. So there's that. I haven't played it on 4-player mode myself yet. I would love to give it a go, and I probably will do during the next year at some point. But having just played it from beginning to end with just one buddy was hilarious. It was amazing. Gameplay-wise, this game's got so much going for it. As I said earlier, let's talk about, for instance, the variety of spells you can cast, and there's so many of them. There's 8 different types of elements that you can cast, and you can cast them up to 5 times in a single spell per se. You can mix up in those 5 slots of spell casting like a combination of different elements, and you can create different kind of things. For instance, if you cast the death elements with fire and then with say electricity, then you'll be casting a dark fire beam of death that spreads across multiple enemies because of the electricity element to it, which spreads like normal. And it's got so many different touches and things that you could do with the various elements that just make this game so enticing and just full of depth, I suppose. The environment plays a huge role in the game as well as the elements that you use in them. Say you're walking past the bridge and there's like water flowing underneath it. If you cast ice on the water, you can create like icebergs where you can walk over them and discover new content and new NPCs to talk to and silly people to chat with, which is always the most charming bits about this game. But yeah, it doesn't just go there. There's just so many different ways the environments affect your characters, and how you can affect your characters by imbuing them with like having a wet state, for instance, by casting water on yourself, or imbuing them with the shield and followed by a water spell, so that you can have some water resistance if you're facing particular enemies that favor the water elements per se. And and this is it. Let me just name some of the elements off the top of my head. You got rock, you got your lightning, water, ice, fire, death, life, stone, and shield. I think I might be missing one or two. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head now. And again, just matching all these elements together produces vast differences in your spell casting abilities. One more thing to note is when you cast a spell, you can cast it in a variety of ways. So you can cast it as a sort of area of effect way, AoE. So if you're casting fire, and I believe hit L2, it will cast it like as a sort of like deterrent of flames around you. Whereby if you use R1 instead of L2, it will just cast it on yourself. So you'll technically burn yourself. You might think that's a bad idea, and it pretty much is a bad idea casting fire on yourself because you will lose hit points. But there are some situations where it's useful. So, for instance, if you're wet and you start, and when you're in the wet state, you can't use your lightning spells. It's a good idea to dry yourself up. So casting fire on yourself when you're in the wet state won't cause any damage, but rather dry you off if you cast the spell on yourself. And there's a lot of other reasons that it's worthwhile casting these dangerous spells on yourself, which is quite interesting how they use all these mechanics and very pleasant way of doing so, if I may add. Also, you can also, instead of casting it on yourself, you can also cast the spell that you conjure up onto your melee weapons. And yeah, you can you can pick up a variety of equipment, and melee weapons is one of them. So you get like swords and bats and meat cleavers and a whole bunch of other stuff. And yeah, as you would expect, casting a spell on your weapons will cause those melee weapons to have some sort of elemental damage added to them. So you can like wield a flame sword imbued with lightning, for instance, or a rock sword, or whatever you decide you want to cast on yourself, on your melee weapon rather. So there's a lot of depth into that as well, and where you cast the spell, on what environments you cast the spell, on which enemies you use it on, and obviously each all the different enemies in the game have various strengths and weaknesses according to the various spells. And apart from all these wonderful mixtures, there's also these unique types of spells that they might not make sense when you think about them elementally wise, but they do cause like crazy effects on the pitch, and you can assign these onto your quick pads or on your D pads, so to speak. So up will cast a specific complicated set of spells, and left and right and down on your D-pad. So you can always have those in your quick menu. But you can always also cast those spells without having to wait for a cooldown period by just memorizing the combination of elements you need to conjure in order to get those crazier spells out there. So yeah, I could go on for hours and hours about how crazy the gameplay mechanics of this game, but that won't do the game any justice. You really need to go out there, pick it up. It was free for PS Plus users. I don't know how much it costs on the PS Store, but it's definitely worth checking it out and playing with a bunch of buddies. And if you don't like the game, you know what? The best thing you can do with your buddies is just have a VS fight, I suppose. Call your buddy's mom a whore or whatever, and have a laugh and watch who's going to kill who. In wizard combat, I suppose, and it's a really fun way to kill your friend. Yeah, so that is why Magica 2 wins my most fun in a co-op game for 2015.
Nehu el dummer!